We are now live! Hello, the Future Perfect Project family. It's me, Zach. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. We're gonna wait for a few people to get started, but it's just apparently the Me Talk hour for a moment while we wait for our special guest, Becca Brown. Oh, hey, you came over! I got friends coming over from my page to come watch Becca Brown. This is gonna be good. We're gonna start in a few minutes. If you have any questions for me, I'll answer questions in the meantime. Becca and I met when we were 11. I'll probably repeat some of this when Becca comes on. But we're interviewing Becca Brown in a few minutes. I'll tell you a little bit about Becca, what I know about Becca. Because at this interview, we're going to learn a lot more about Becca. We're going to experience maybe some music. We're going to talk about their writing experience. We're going to talk about themselves as a comedian. They've been on NBC. They've been doing it, living their realest lives. So I'm very excited to share that with you. Oh, I love you too, Ms. Joe. Who is it? I feel like I know you. Hi, Jake in NYC. Good to see you. Becca's on their way. We'll be chatting in a minute. It's going to be cool. Also, message in the chat if you have any questions for Becca. Oh, I have to say, going live. Here we are, going live with @Becca Brown, Becca Julia Brown at 7. Oh, hey, cuz! At 7. Well, you're going to love this interview because it feels like family. It's that, like, queer, wonderful family that's coming online. And it's going to be a lot. So the Future Perfect Project. Oh, hey, Becca. Okay, this is how. So I think you request. There it goes. Okay, this is working. It's going to work. It's going to happen. I'm going to plug you in so that we have full battery. Becca!
Hello!
How are you, my beautiful family?
I'm good. I'm setting up my tripod. Hey!
This is that self-tape life, right? We gotta, like, make it happen.
You gotta make it work.
Yes.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you wonderfully. Can you hear me? I've got, like, a loud little space air conditioner. Cause it's hot.
Literally sisters.
Oh my God.
I've got my little
fantastic. Space. Well, people are coming on board. I'm loving this. We are gonna have a party today. I've been saying we're going live with Becca Brown for the last 10 minutes. I love it. I'm like on repeat, just making sure everyone comes and checks you out. You're my family.
Your family.
Gabby. Gabby is here from Argentina. Hi, Gabby.
Hola.
Oh, Sunny. Hello. Hey.
Sunny.
Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Also, y'all who are watching, please throw in your questions for Becca. We're going to have a little Q&A moment. It's going to be great. Becca, I'm so happy you're here. This is such a wonderful day. Here. So I'm going to explain a little bit about what we're doing today, and then we're going to get the ball rolling on our interview. Beautiful. So we're here with the Future Perfect Project. For those of you who don't know, the Future Perfect Project believes that the artistic expression of young people is a declaration of a better future for us all. There's so much more, but that like encapsulates it so much to me and just gets me really excited about what we do for the Future Perfect Project. So we're going to talk about queerness. We're going to talk about artistry. Hello. I'm going to give a brief intro about you because I've known you since we were 11. Becca and I met when we were filming the School of Rock little thing. And Becca played the bass player, Katie, and I played the light kid, Gordon. Forgot there for a moment. Well, I was talking about you, and someone was like, yeah, they played Katie, the bass player. I was like, yeah, they did. And they used your correct pronouns. Just throwing that out there.
We love it when they do.
Yes, we do. We do. So just to get us started, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you identify as an artist, your pronouns, and then one thing you're grateful for today.
Ooh, okay. How I identify as an artist. Well, hi, I'm Becca. My pronouns are they and them. And I identify as an actor, a writer, performer, a musician, a singer, a songwriter, a comedian. Did I say writer? A producer sometimes. I consider myself to be a Jack or Jill of all trades. I guess what's the gender neutral form of Jack and or Jill?
July. My friend July. You know, like
July. A July of all trades.
It's very seasonal. It's a seasonal name.
Yes.
You're a July of all trades.
Yes.
I love it. I think we just made that a real thing. It's going to go viral.
Copyrighted. Copyrighted.
And then one thing that you're grateful for today.
Yes. Oh my God. Of course I forgot gratitude. Because listen, let's be real. Like it's hard sometimes to look at, the things we're grateful for, in uncertain times such as these. But I did actually write a gratitude list today, which is something that I do as part of my daily routine. Something that I'm grateful for today is, just ice cold water.
Yes.
Staying hydrated.
Solid. I love that. Oh, that makes me so excited. My dad, my dad. I grew up saying how wonderful water was and how water was the fruit of life. So I feel you on that, especially in this 90-something degree weather. What's it like there in LA? What's the weather like? I'm doing that weather question.
It's kind of in the 90s all day, all the time. And then around the time the sun sets, it finally cools off a little bit. And yeah, but I live in an apartment that has very little air conditioning. So I basically carry this giant fan around wherever I am working in the apartment with me so that I can cool off my armpits.
Yes.
Which we love.
Best life. We move forward, you and I. So I'm going to ask a few rapid fire questions about you. Just to because I know you, but I feel like there's still more for me to get to know about you.
Yes.
So I'm just ask these questions and you first thing that comes to mind. Cool?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Vanilla or chocolate?
Swirl.
Apple or oranges?
Oranges.
Aladdin or The Lion King?
Aladdin.
Brendan Urie or Janelle Monáe?
Janelle.
Right? They're both pan. They're both pansexual. I was looking at different pan people. I was who can I throw out there that is just gonna love Becca the way they are no matter what.
I spend a lot of my time Googling who is pan, just so I can figure it out.
Well, when Janelle Monáe came out too, it was a big deal. I was for me, that experience is why I can't wait for the
day. I cannot wait for the day that a celebrity or person, a public figure coming out isn't a major freaking headline. It would be just dope if people could come out and not have it be TMZ. But
right, true. Now, which brings me beautifully to wow, you're good at segue. I don't even know if you knew. Yes. Oh well, so you've been sticking it to the man since we were 11.
Day one.
And I'm wondering what it was like for you coming out, being that person who was in the School of Rock. What was that experience like? Did you have obstacles? Did you have great gifts, rewards that came along the road?
Coming out as queer was super I'm not gonna lie, I like wish it was more exciting for me than it was. Like, I kind of, you know, my parents, I grew up in a pretty LGBT friendly neighborhood in Chicago. And when I came out, I didn't even really come out. I didn't do a whole like, I'm queer, like, 'cause I didn't really have the words for what I was yet. And I was loosely internally identifying as bi. And it was my senior prom was coming up, and my parents were like, oh, so who's the lucky guy? And I was just like, actually, I am bringing a girl to prom. And they were like, okay, cool. And in my mind, I was like building it up, because in my mind, I always write the script for what's going to happen. And like, it's usually a lot more dramatic and exciting because I'm a Leo. I love drama. Hello. But I wrote up this story in my mind that I was going to come out and my mom was going to cry and my dad was going to be like, get out. But it was literally just like, okay. And I think it's like partially to do with the fact that my dad is super cool with, you know, gay people. He's been surrounded by gay people his whole life. He was in the fashion industry for a while, and a lot of his very close friends are trans women and drag queens. And, you know, it was very smooth with them. And honestly, I think because I am AFAB, you know, when I came out as bi, it was a mix of people being like, okay, and like people just being like, oh, it's just a phase. You're going to find the right guy one day. Like it usually is when women and femme people come out as bi. It's always under the gaze of like the patriarchy, basically. Like, oh, like women who are bi are saying that they're bi for attention and really they're going to end up with a man. And men that are bi are just closeted gay and they're going to end up with a man. And I don't know if you can see that, like in both scenarios, the person ends up with a man, which I find very interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I never really had problems with it because I was, you know, and especially when I got to college and there were other queer people and I was just like, yay, I'm like not the only one. I like have friends that also identify this way that I can relate with. And, you know, the strength and unity of, you know, queerness. I just talked a lot.
The queer community. But, yes. I could listen to you all day. I do. You know I do. And
Did I start a podcast?
Oh my God. Yes. It's time. Are we live on Insta? Just a heads up to everyone that's watching. You can type in questions, Rebecca, that we'll ask at the end. I just want to follow up with one thing you said about that, like, always going to the male-centric idea, right? That, like, the bi man will end up being with a man and the AFAB femme person will end up being with a man as well. What has it been like being a non-binary person in those circumstances? Do you feel like your gender identity has affected that discussion at all about your sexuality?
Well, I've always kind of felt that, not always, but in recent years, in discovering, kind of coming to terms with my gender or identity, honestly, it's a day-to-day thing. Like, I get to wake up and, you know, feel how I feel and be like, well, how do I identify today? Because there are days where I wake up and I'm like, I'm a girl, like, no question about it. But then there are other days where I'm like, well, I don't know, though. I have no desire to, like, medically alter my body to reflect a certain thing. But, like, in my relationships, you know, romantic relationships, I like to say that any relationship that I am in is a queer relationship just because I'm queer as day. And
yes, you better quote Ryan Amador and James Oseen. Queer, 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 queer.
Queer. We love it.
But yeah, it depends on the day. Yeah.
It depends on the day. Like, you know, I never like to put numbers on anything because I know that there are people who are bi or pan who are like, well, I'm like 50-50. Like, I like men and women equally or whatever. But since I don't you know, like people based on their gender or lack thereof, I am just like, okay, well, if they're cute and they respect me and we respect each other and we are able to have strong boundaries and listen to each other and learn from each other and grow alongside each other spiritually, emotionally, you know, it doesn't matter what they are or who they are. It's just like, do we get along?
It's a big reminder that it's a spectrum, and I love that it's, do we get along? It's about, for me, in my experience too, it's very much about, not only am I attracted to this person physically, but am I attracted to this person's personality? And I think people forget that often, that it's not always about how you look, it's about how I feel when I'm with you. I want to ask a live question while we're at it. Please follow through with what you wanted to say, because I would never want to interrupt you. But how do you draw hope and beauty in the midst of such an ugly time in the world? Ask Seni_Della Torre.
Seni de la Torre. We went to high school together.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for the question. Seni, I love you, and I'm so glad that you asked that. The question was, how do I draw hope and beauty in the midst of an ugly time in the world? This is going to sound kind of cheesy, but I do this meditation on the Insight Timer app pretty much every day if I can. And if I can't, I kind of have it like kind of memorized. But at the end, there's these 7 mantras. And one of them is I allow myself to feel my feelings and see the feelings and visualize them and just let them float away. And I'm in a lot of anxiety constantly. I suffer from, you know, crippling anxiety and depression and mania and bipolar, you know, and in times like these when it's uncertain every day, there's a new update from the governor saying that we might have to stay at home again. And all I can do is just be where my feet are, just be in this chair, talking to you, not thinking about what's out there right now. There's a lot of construction going on out my window, but like all I can do is just be in this moment and just know that even though it doesn't feel like it, it's temporary.
Yes.
We've been through worse, honestly. I feel like we've all been through worse than this. What's another day sitting in your apartment, you know, with a fan on you and lots of sunlight?
That difficulty of just putting a mask on for the health and safety of other people being like a controversial thing. It's like, oh, you know, we've agreed. We've had tougher times. It's so true. And I can really identify and relate with that, you know, the anxiety, as a person who has bipolar disorder as well, that like in the beginning of it all was like, what do I do? What step do I take? Someone said, I'm an old straight guy, but very much want to be an ally and offer support to the LGBT community. How beautiful is that? Oh, and Lisa
really
loved that you said, be where my feet are at. I love that. They're with us. They're with us. So I want to get us some of what you create and what I know you create to survive these times, like to thrive in these times. And I'm wondering if you have some tunes that you'd be willing to share with us or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a tune.
Yes.
I'll play a tune. Yeah. I'm nervous actually, because I haven't performed since. I've made it a point to kind of just take this pause as a pause and just like really, because I was going hard every day, you know, when I lived in Chicago, it was, you know, several shows a week, performing all over the city and going from one show to another, sometimes 3 shows one night. When I got to LA, I was just like, I'm just going to chill and, you know, take shows when I can get them. And then this government shutdown was just like, oh, you're not doing any shows ever again. So it is an honor to get to share this moment with y'all today. I'll just stop stalling and get to it. After a while, I got sick of doing the wrong thing. I saw what love could truly bring. I found something else worth worshiping. I thought all my tribulations would go away if I drowned my mind with poison wine. I was broken, beaten, troubled until that day we found each other in due time. After a while, the pain still lives inside my head. I can't get out of my bed, but I'm grateful for the path I've led. After a while, I had to put my trust in you. You told me you were hurting too. You taught me how to stay true. Thought all my tribulations would go away if I drowned my mind with poison wine. I was broken, beaten, troubled until that day we found each other in due time. After a while, I put down the glass, picked up my phone. You told me I was not alone. Now look how much I have grown.
Oh! Becca,
Thanks.
yes! I'm clapping for the world right now.
Oh.
Becca, I've clutched my pearls. There's this crazy experience that I have when I watch you perform or when I watch videos of you, where it's this like this magic power of the universe that comes about. Oh my God, you're so wonderful, Becca. People are saying you're such an inspiration and nice hair. You're getting all of the love. But the lyric that really popped out for me that I could, and you know, we know each other from these rooms, is that I found something else worth worshiping. That was so powerful. That like, can you talk a little bit about that? Do you mind like going into what that means for you? And
Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of my identity, you know, throwing gender and queerness and artistry is what I wanted to say. And I see Miss Poetic Soul, whose book I got, and I love it. My partner got me their book, and it's a book of poetry. It's so freaking good. If you want to support a Black woman artist, check her out. She's incredible. But yeah, I found something else worth worshiping. Yeah, I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself, and kind of make myself my own god, or goddess, or whatever you want to call it, higher power. I want to be the director, writer, producer, crafty, and like main role and main character in my life. And I want to, you know, have control over everything. And it caught up to me after a while, and I just, couldn't do it anymore. It was too much pressure. I was trying to control my own narrative rather than letting life happen, and, you know, just trying to be present. Again, it always comes down to, I was thinking big picture constantly, always thinking about the future, always thinking about when am I going to get my cash and prizes, my Emmy, where's my Tony, where's my Emmy, where's my freaking SNL, like what, I had all these like tangible dreams, which is not a bad thing. Have those dreams, you know. I think it's good to aspire to make an album or you know, be on SNL or win a Tony, but if that becomes like your entire existence and your entire identity, you lose sight of like now. And I like got lost in that, and when I had reached kind of this emotional like low point in my life when I was 24 or 25, I was, you know, not getting what I wanted out of my career. So I started seeking it in other people, and I was just like, oh, well, at least if I'm dating somebody who's the main character of their life and seems to think and seems to have it all figured out, I can kind of sink my talons into them and like ride away off to, you know, Hollywood with them. Or, you know, and then if that didn't work out, it would push me into like, unfortunately, drugs and lots of drinking and stuff. And it caught up to me, and it all just became too much. And I knew that there was something kind of wrong, and I had to kind of just stop. And I asked for help, and I got the help that I needed, and I'm still, you know, getting the help that I need every day. And yeah,
you're really an inspiration for people who are watching, for people who witness what your experience is. And that's, I think, a huge thing I mean to say as well, is to witness this transformation, this like beautiful growth as a human being, that like from the age of 11, you know, that like I've like had this experience and been on this ride with you. And just, it's just a reminder that we're not alone as we face struggles, as we face obstacles. I'm wondering how your creativity, how you as an artist has impacted your struggles. Has it been this like refuge, or has it been a pitfall? What is that, you know, either or in between? I mean, fuck the binary. Excuse my language.
It's okay. Oops. It's okay. They've heard worse. You know, it's been a good mix of both. I've always sought solace in my art, and even when I was a kid, like, I mean, I will always thank my parents for putting me in music when they did, because it was what I wanted to do. I didn't know that about myself, but they kind of wanted to write my narrative for me, and put me into music, which was fine. And, you know, if they hadn't done that, I wouldn't have gotten to meet you and do School of Rock and everything. But for a long time, School of Rock was this thing that was, you know, the thing, and was the only thing that everyone else knew about. I knew that I was doing amazing work as an actor and as a comedian, like working at places like Second City, Steppenwolf. If you're in the like comedy and theater community world, you know those names, and you know like, oh, that's actually come through. Like, that's a big deal. But unfortunately, like 90% of the people that follow me, 90% of the people that know me, you know, up until a couple years ago, only know that, and only see this 10-year-old who like was shy and didn't like herself, and, you know, was really scared, and this was her first movie and first time being seen by anyone like that, because I was awkward as hell when I was in grade school. I was the shy, like, weird guitar girl, and everyone else was like, well, I do gymnastics and sports, and I was just like, like,
right
in the corner, nobody liked me. And like, then I got this thing, and for a long time my goal was to be anything but that. Like, I wanted to write the thing, or book the job, or make the appearance, or have the moment that like took me out of that, rather than honoring it and being like, okay, yeah, this is a thing that happened, and I'm not able to control that. That already happened, and it's 15 plus years ago. And, you know, why can't I just honor it and be like accepting of the fact that that happened already, and we don't need to like control it? And what we can do is just write what we want to write, sing what we want to sing, make what we want to make, and not worry about like the past of it all, and the past work, and the IMDb page, and the freaking resume.
Preach, you know? Girl. Preach, girl. Grr.
Grr.
Grr. Grr. Becca and I were talking about this the other day. Grr is now a pronoun.
Yeah.
Grr. It makes me really think what you're saying about and I've heard this, maybe you have too, that self-esteem is built by esteemable acts. What do you find helps build that confidence that you were talking about when you were so young? What has like been that transformation for you at moments when you're
I had no confidence. I mean, I had no confidence when I was younger up until, I don't even think I really had confidence in my 20s, like early 20s. I think I was faking confidence really well because I wore leather. You know, I wore a leather jacket everywhere I went. I wore this leather jacket. I still have it. I don't wear it often because it's hot as heck here, but like leather jacket, leather boots. I like had, you know, big messy hair and kind of smoked cigarettes and had this like hard kind of like wall that I'd put up. But I'm like really a soft, sensitive little like baby on the inside. And I'm kind of frantically trying to like show everyone how tough and how confident I was, where in reality it was just like a scared little kid who was, you know, terrified of being seen and heard and honest, and I couldn't really be honest with anyone, let alone myself. And once I took all that stuff away, I mean, I still love the leather jacket and the messy hair and the hoops and like all that, but I don't need to perform confidence because I know that I don't have to be confident all the time. Like there's beauty and, you know, there's beauty in vulnerability. There's beauty in sadness. There's beauty in pain and expressing that pain through a song that I wrote when I was, you know, 30 days sober and thought I had all the answers, but I didn't. And then 2 days later, I had the worst panic attack of my life after I wrote this song. And I was, you know, still very, very much lost. But now when I sing this song, I actually mean it. I'm like, oh, like I really, really thought that all my problems would go away if I just drowned and hid them with relationships and drinking and like, you know, external validation and likes and follows. Where in reality, all I needed was to tell another person, like, I'm feeling lost, I'm feeling sad and stuck, and I feel like I have a problem with all of what I thought I was is not working for me. Help.
That lyric that you wrote, put down the glass, picked up my phone, just reminds me of like, I have to reach out. You know, when I'm happy, when I'm sad, it's so important to share those experiences with people. As much as it is like beautiful to experience it and hold it within oneself, there's just this beauty in sharing struggle and going through these things together. And I really love that about our relationship, that like we get to experience the great times together and also the not so great times. You know, the hard times are where it's at. That's what I'm realizing too. So many friendships are built, at least mine when I was younger, before I was comfortable being queer. So many of my friendships were built on convenience. You know, it's like, oh, we're going to party. You got this. I've got that.
Yeah.
And something I'm learning as I get more comfortable in my queerness is that like people see me. It's okay to be seen. It's like, it's powerful, especially as a non-binary person. I'm wondering more about your experience as a non-binary person. How do you feel when you're misgendered? What do you and how do you cope with those feelings either way?
When I'm misgendered, which is every day, because people see this and they see the way that my body is. I'm a pretty curvy person. They see me and they go, girl, like, or woman or lady, which lady is the one that drives me freaking insane. Cause I'm like, do I look like a lady? I look like Gorgonzola, if anything. But like, yeah, I identify as Gorgonzola. That's my gender today. Actually, that would be a great drag name.
Yes, July Gorgonzola.
Yes, coming to the stage, July Gorgonzola. But yeah, I get misgendered every day, and like I honestly, like, for many years I identified as like gender fluid. I was like, oh, she, her, they, them, he, him. I don't care what you call me. Just don't call me Becky or like Rebecca, because that name doesn't feel right for me. Or don't call me like a lady or a chica. Like, but now I'm like more like, no, like they, them does actually make more sense in my head and in my mind. And I would love it if people would call me that, but I also kind of know that just because of the way the world is and the people that inhabit it right now, they're going to look at me and think girl. And that's fine. I'm not going to like be mad at people for assuming that I'm a lady or a girl because I look like one. But, you know, it's really the people like you that I'm close with that I'm like, don't, by the way, my pronouns are they, them, and I'll correct them once. You know, if it's a person who I really love and want in my life and whatever, and they continually misgender me, I'm like, I'll just they. And not expect an apology. Like, I think the best way to go about correcting somebody when they misgender you is just saying, oh, I use they, them pronouns, or just saying, oh, they, and letting it go and knowing that it's not personal. Like, and if it is personal, like, F them. Like, if somebody is personally just, like, purposefully misgendering you and being like, hey, like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, like, I don't need to be your friend anymore. And like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really get that. I don't really get that upset by it. It's just like, I know that people are going to assume for a long time. And I guess the solution is don't assume. And if you do misgender somebody and they correct you, don't apologize. Just correct yourself and say they, or whatever it is, you know, Z, yes. Here.
Yeah. We're talking about a paradigm shift. You know, it's for, like, I love what you said about considering the people in the world, right? Some people just have been taught a certain way for so long. And I've had to come to understand and respect that people are where they are, and recognize that the people, like you said, people who are in my life that, like, I love, like you, it's like, I can have an open discussion with you and do that, not like that light they, you know, when I'm misgendered, and creatively, and I'm wondering if that's been an experience for you creatively, whether, because I've had experiences as an artist where I've had to correct people who I'm working with often. And I'm wondering if that's something, or any, you know, how you deal with a situation like that, or is it similar?
It's similar. Like whenever I was working at Steppenwolf as a producer, I was more strict about my pronouns, and I've oscillated back and forth for a couple of years now. It's been 5 years since I like started, you know, since I added they, them to my like Facebook, and like, you know, when doing these like big first day like meet and greets on a show or whatever, I'll always introduce myself as Becca, she, her, or they, them. But there was a time during like, and yeah, like I'm seeing in the chat right here, like trans masculine non-binary person who doesn't like they, them, likes their partner to, or his or her partner to alternate pronouns, and that's perfectly valid too. Like, you don't have to pick one. And honestly, like, there are days where I'm like, yeah, I mean, if somebody calls me she today, I'm not gonna get mad about it. Like, and there are days where I'm just like, I don't even care. It's just, I want to be seen and validated and respected in my community as a non-binary or gender fluid person who transcends gender and can, you know, perform a cis femme character or a non-binary character. Like Rue, I was so, you know, grateful to get to play a non-binary kid in Q2, which was written by James Lucene and Ryan Amador. I was really grateful to get to do that, you know, because that was my maybe second time ever playing a non-binary character, and I felt gender euphoria, which is the opposite of gender dysphoria, when you feel trapped or confused or hurt, like, or in pain because of something pertaining to your gender or your sex or whatever. Like, for me, being cast in a non-binary role, I was just like, yeah, like, that's a win today. And yeah, but I just want to be seen and respected as a non-binary person, you know?
Yeah, I hear that. I'm really glad that you said that about gender dysphoria. We actually had a brilliant member of our community write an experience about that, and it's so powerful. I think for so many people to be hearing your experience and how to communicate with people about those things. So we're getting to the end of our time. I'm just wondering if if you were to speak to your teenage self today, when you were first coming out, or you 5 years ago when you were again coming out again, girl, do I know that experience? What would you say? Is there advice? Is there a poem? Is there something that you would say to them?
Yeah, it's so funny. My partner and I were playing this game last night called We're Not Really Strangers, and it's like this, I fell for it. It was like an Instagram ad that I just was like, oh, that sounds great. I bought it. And it's a way to get more vulnerable and honest and you know, intimate with a person by getting to know them. And one of the questions was like, what would you say to your younger self? And I wrote down, I think I have it. I'm going to grab it really quick and read it because it was actually really good. I'll be right back.
Yes, go. While you're there, I'm just going to let everyone know if you have any questions, throw them into the chat for Becca. I will get to them. I'm so glad we're having such a beautiful conversation. Thank you for throwing all the love at them. Also, you can check them out on Instagram and Twitter at Becca Julia Brown, at Becca Julia Brown on Instagram and Twitter. And you can also check out their website, bookbeccabrown.com, because this person needs to be booked. Come on.
True, and also, I'm on TikTok. And honestly,
you're on TikTok?
TikTok has become a big part of my life during quarantine, thanks to my friend Mars Wright, who I want to plug also. Mars is a trans activist, and he's an amazing person. His TikTok is, I think, just mars.right, WRIGHT, and Mars like the planet. He's great. He taught me everything I know about TikTok and more. But yeah, I wrote this little note to myself from this game last night. Do you want me to read it?
Yes, please.
Okay. Dear little Becca, I love you, and I am doing my best to make up for what they did to you and how they made you feel. Love you from the future.
Whoa. How powerful, how that communion with our younger selves is so powerful. I love that you shared that.
I talk to my inner child all the time.
Will you read it again?
Yeah.
I'm like a giddy little child right now.
I encourage everybody to do this. Maybe this will be a little homework assignment for the babies. Do it. Just literally set a timer for 2 minutes. Write a letter to your younger self, and it could be younger, teenage self, younger child. I do a lot of inner child work. It helps me overcome some of my past trauma. And what I wrote was, dear little Becca, I love you, and I'm doing my best to make up for what they did to you and how they made you feel. Love you from the future. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm doing today is if I've stayed sober for, today and helped somebody else with something, whether that's me helping somebody today by speaking my truth and, whatever, or calling a friend who I know is struggling with something, or buying a book from a BIPOC, company. And then if I've drank a lot of water, eaten some fruit, taken my vitamins and moved my body a little bit, even if it's just climbing up the stairs. I've done enough, more than enough, to make up for what, for the bullying that happened to me, or for the way my parents treated me, or for the way the industry has treated me. And I'm making up for all of that for her, for little Becca, for them. One day at a time. That's it. Not to be cliche, but it literally is one moment at a time. Today I'm having a really rough day. I've been in a lot of anxiety, and this conversation has taken me out of that, for sure, and has helped me a lot. But all I can do is, you know, breathe and stick to my routine of, you know, constantly asking the universe to protect me and hug me and hold me, and, you know, just loving myself no matter what.
Yeah, acceptance. I'm taking away acceptance today. I'm taking away meditation. I'm taking connection with me, and my gratitude to you, to the Future Perfect Project, for everyone that joined us today is abounding. And just, it's just this beauty that we get to share with each other because of these queer spaces. It's like there is this bravery that you share when you speak, Becca. And I'm so grateful that we got to kiki on here. That we've had, you got love from India, Brazil, Indonesia, all over the world, girl. I love you so much, and we'll talk soon. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Have a wonderful night. You can watch this video again. It'll be posted on our feed. Love you.
Follow my TikTok. It's
Follow
Becca
that
Brown.
TikTok.
Becca Brown. Love y'all.
Tick.